Okay, let's start with this prayer for invoking auspiciousness. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome to this Krishna Janmashtami Shravana Utsav. So Shravana means hearing and Utsav is the festival. So this is the festival of hearing. And this is not an ordinary hearing festival. It is hearing Krishna Katha. Now, Krishna Katha are actually of two types. One Krishna Katha is narrations about Krishna, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. And the other Krishna Katha is the narrations which are spoken by Krishna, which is Bhagavad Gita. So these particular sessions are based on Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam's 10th canto explains all the pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada, who's the founder Acharya of ISKCON, he has presented this 10th canto in the form of a book called Krishna. And this Krishna book has 90 chapters. So we have decided that we will start these meditations on various pastimes of Krishna, and we will discuss each chapter every day. So on one day, we will discuss one chapter of that book. And that is how we will prepare our consciousness for Krishna Janmashtami, which is not far away. So we will not cover all the 90 chapters before then. The Krishna Janmashtami festival is on 31st of August. So, but we are starting these sessions in advance. And that is how we will prepare our consciousness for this festival of Krishna Janmashtami. Also in New Zealand, as you all know, we are in lockdown. And in such situation, generally, our mind becomes very much focused on all the negative news items. And the stress and anxiety increases at that particular time. So by discussing this Krishna Katha, it will also help us to come out of that negative consciousness and focus our mind onto the Supreme Lord Krishna. In fact, in the 10th canto, in the first chapter, 4th verse, Parikshit Maharaj is discussing this with Shukadeva Goswami. And Parikshit Maharaj is mentioning in the beginning itself. So, canto 10, chapter 1, verse number 4. Nivrittatarshay upagiyamana bhavau shadhau shotra manobhirama Kauttama shloka gunanuvada puman virajyet vina pashughat. So Parikshit Maharaj is actually glorifying Krishna Katha. Uttama shloka gunanuvada. So the Supreme Lord is actually glorified by these various beautiful verses. And he is actually explaining there are three benefits or three effects of listening to Krishna Katha. The first thing is Nivritta Tarshair or the Trishna. Trishna means our desires or our sensual desires. So we become Nivritta from that. So we become detached from all the sensual desires. So that is the first effect of hearing Krishna Katha. The second effect is, it is Bhavav Shadhav Shotra Manobhiramat. So actually cures the mind, because mind is always full of this material anxieties and stress. So the Uttama Shloka or the Krishna Katha will actually liberate the mind from all these anxieties. And the third effect that we have is that it is saying Nivritta Tarshir Upagiyamanat Bhavaushadho Shrotra Manovinama. So Bhava Aushadha, it is also a medicine for the soul. And this medicine is not an ordinary medicine. This medicine actually cures us from this repeated birth and death that we have. We are actually stuck in this cycle of birth and death. And this medicine of Krishna Katha will uplift us from this bhava rog, and it will take us to the spiritual world. So that is why that this Krishna Katha is very, very interesting and important for all of us, and especially in this difficult time of lockdown. So it will definitely help all of us to uplift ourselves and actually free from the stress and anxiety. And then it will not only free us from the stress and anxiety, but it will also uplift us to even spiritual world. So after glorifying Krishna Katha, Parikshit Maharaj in the first chapter of the 10th canto asked various questions to Shukadeva Goswami about Lord Krishna and also about Lord Balaram. And this is a very auspicious day today. It is Lord Balaram's appearance day. And the first question that Parikshit Maharaj asks, that how that Lord Balaram, who is the son of Rohini, but also he appeared in the womb of Devaki, how is that possible? How one person can be in two wombs? Then he asks, why did Krishna go from Mathura to Vrindavan? And how did he live there with his family members? Then what did Krishna do in Mathura? And what did he do in Vrindavan? And above all, why Krishna killed Kamsa, who is his maternal uncle? Now, this is very abominable that you are actually killing your own mama. He's your maternal uncle. Why did Krishna do that? And for how many years Krishna resided in Dwarka? How many queens did he have? And he said that please answer all these questions that I have asked and also cover all the other topics which I did not ask you. So he's saying cover everything, catch all. So Shukadeva Goswami was very, very happy with these inquiries from Parikshit Maharaj. And he said that this Krishna Katha is like the waters of Ganges. That just like the Ganges water purifies everyone, similarly, the description of the activities of Krishna, it purifies the entire universe. And especially he mentioned the three different kinds of groups of people who get benefited from it. First of all, the speaker of the Krishna Katha gets benefited. The second one is the inquirer who is asking those questions because of which the speaker is speaking. So that inquirer also gets benefited. And then the third one, all the other people, the audience also become purified and benefited. And thus, after this glorification, then he starts narrating the pastimes. And this is where the first chapter of the Krishna book starts, which is entitled The Advent of Lord Krishna. So once the world was overburdened by the demoniac kings and the various large armies that these kings had. And the entire world, the people were in distress. So Bhumi Devi, who is the presiding deity of earth, she took the form of the cow and she went to Brahma to explain him her difficulties. And she started weeping and explaining the calamities that she is facing due to all of these demoniac kings. So Brahmaji heard all the problems from Bhumi, and immediately he understood that these problems are beyond his capacity to solve. So he gathered all the other devatas like Indra, Lord Shiva, Varuna, and all the other devatas he gathered. And with their collective minds as well, they couldn't solve these problems. So they decided that we should actually go to Lord Vishnu, who is residing on the Milk Ocean or Kshira Sagar, and that Vishnu is called Shirodakshayi Vishnu. So there is an important lesson here that we can learn from Brahmaji. So Brahmaji is the first living entity and he is the secondary creator. But even Brahmaji is not able to solve all the problems in the world. But the good thing is that he understands and takes help from others. So it is okay to ask for help. We don't have to remain proud thinking that I can solve everything. I can solve the entire world's problem. So we should understand our limitations and we should seek help. And this way, collectively, we will be able to solve many more problems. So this is the first lesson that we can learn from Brahmaji. So Brahmaji and all these devatas now are standing on the shore of this Milk Ocean. And they started glorifying the Supreme Lord by offering him the Purusha Sukta prayers. But even after offering all the prayers to the Supreme Lord, they did not hear any response from the Lord. So Brahmaji sat into meditation and then he received the message from the Lord. So there is a second lesson that we can learn here. So only Brahmaji heard the message from the Supreme Lord because he tuned his mind properly to the Lord. It is like tuning the radio. When you are actually wanting to hear something on the radio, we are actually tuning the frequency on the radio. And when the frequency matches perfectly, then we are able to receive the messages from that radio station. Similarly, Brahmaji in the meditation, he focused his mind completely on the Supreme Lord. And that is how he was able to receive this message from the Supreme Lord. Our problem is that our mind is not very steady. And our mind is very flickering. And because of that, we are not able to receive this message from the Supreme Lord, who's sitting in our heart as Paramatma. And we can steady this flickering mind by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So once our mind steadies and it is tuned to the right frequency of the Supreme Lord, then we will also be able to hear the Lord properly. But we have to be very careful because just a small turn onto that frequency and then some other station itself will get tuned and we will start hearing something else. So we have to be very careful that we are tuned to the Supreme Lord and then hear from him. So Brahmaji now received the message from the Supreme Lord. And then he starts conveying that message to all the devatas who are present there. So Brahmaji says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to appear very soon in Yadu dynasty as the son of Vasudeva. And as long as he remains on earth, all devatas should also appear and take part in his pastimes. So he's telling to all the devatas, now it is time for you to appear here on the planet Earth because Lord is going to appear here very soon. And he said that you should take birth immediately in Yadu dynasty for the pleasure of the Lord. And not only Lord is going to appear, Lord Ananta is also going to appear on earth as Balaram. It is that today is that auspicious occasion of Lord Balaram's appearance. So Lord Ananta is also going to appear on the earth as Balaram before Lord Krishna. And his Lord's external potency Maya is also going to appear to execute the purpose of the Lord. So hearing all of that, all the devatas and especially Bhumi Devi, because of whom all of this started, they got pacified. And then Brahma and everyone departs. And then Shukadev Goswami shifts the scene to Mathura. And he starts explaining what is happening in Mathura now. So Surasena, who is the king of the country called Mathura, in which there is a city called Mathura. And Mathura is the capital of this country called Mathura. So once upon a time, Surasena's son, Vasudev, is getting married to Devaki, who is the daughter of Devaka. So after the marriage, so now Vasudev and Devaki are married, and Devaki is now going towards Vasudev's house. So after the marriage, Kamsa, who is the son of Ugrasena, so Ugrasena is also the brother of Devaka. So in that way, Kamsa is the brother of Devaki. So Kamsa, after the marriage, has become the chariot driver of Devaki and Vasudev. So because of affection for his sister, he said that, okay, I will take you, O Devaki, I will become the driver of your chariot, and I will take you to Vasudev's house. And Devak is also very happy with the marriage. So he has given lots of gifts to Devaki. So he has given 400 elephants, 15,000 horses, 1,800 chariots. There are many maid servants which are following. And all of them, like not only the maid servants, but the elephants, horses, chariots, all of them were decorated with pure gold. And all of this procession, so in the front, we have Kamsa driving the chariot of Devaki and Vasudev. And behind all of these elephants, horses, chariots, maid servants, all of them in that procession, they are going. And there are lots of musical instruments which are playing around. And suddenly, there is this mystical sound or miraculous sounds that comes from the sky. And the sound says, Kamsa, you are such a fool. You are driving the chariot of your sister and your brother-in-law, but you do not know that the 8th child of this sister will kill you. As soon as Kamsa hears this, all of his love for his sister suddenly fades away. And he starts thinking that, oh, so 8th child of this sister is going to kill me. If I kill my sister now itself, there is no 8th child. So there is no problem. So all of his love finished. And suddenly he stands up on the chariot, pulls out his sword, and with the other hand, he gets hold of the hair of Devaki. And he's about to chop off her head and kill her. And Vasudev is looking very astonishingly that what is happening suddenly here. This Kamsa is the most demoniac in that entire dynasty of Bhoja. And Vasudev is looking at this demoniac act. And he's now thinking how to now pacify and stop Kamsa from doing this activity. So he starts talking. He starts talking to Kamsa. And he gives various different reasoning. He says, oh Kamsa, you are such a famous king and you are from a famous Bhoja dynasty. So how can you kill a woman who is your own sister? And not only she is your own sister, but you are killing her on the auspicious time of her marriage. You should be protecting your sister and she should not be killed. It will go against your reputation. So you should not kill her. The second argument he gives that why should you be afraid of death? Everyone is going to die anyway. Death is already born along with your birth. when you were born, at that time your death time was also born. And what is death basically? Death means annihilation of your present body, and then you are going to get another body. So if death is anyway going to come, then why you should do some sinful activity to avoid it by killing your own sister on this auspicious time? This will ruin your next life also, because you are going to do a sinful activity, and because of that your next life also will be ruined. But even after that, there was no effect on Kamsa. Because of his demoniac mentality, he heard this instruction, but it had no effect on him. And it is explained that this is the difference between the devatas and the demons. Demons doesn't mean that someone who's looking very horrible, or he has two horns, or he looks differently from the other people. No. The difference between devatas and devatas and demons is that devatas accept the instructions given in the scriptures, whereas the demons do not accept it. So that is the main difference between demigods and demons. It is not based on their look, it is not based on their birth or anything like that. Anyone who accepts the instructions, good instructions which are given in the scriptures, they are devatas. And anyone who is rejecting those instructions given in the scriptures, they are called demons. So now Vasudeva thought that whatever philosophy I am telling to Kamsa, it is not having any effect on him. So what should I do now? So he is thinking that somehow or the other, now I have to actually save the life of my wife Devaki. In future, if there is some son, then I will see how I can protect that son. But for now, somehow or the other, I should protect my wife. And as per the announcement that was done through this miraculous voice that came, if as per that, if there is such a son who's going to kill Kamsa, then he will anyway save Devaki and himself. But for now, for that to happen, I have to somehow or the other save Devaki. So to save his wife, he said to Kamsa that, oh Kamsa, actually at this point in time, there is no danger for you from your own sister. See, who knows that in future there will be any son or not for your sister? And even if she gets that she gets a son, it will be in the future. So there is actually no danger for you from her at present. So why you should kill her? If the danger is going to be from her son, I promise you that I will present all of them to you for your necessary action. And Kamsa knew the value of Vasudev's promise. He knew that if Vasudev has given a word, then he will fulfill that promise. And he got pacified. He said he knew that Vasudev is not going to break the promise, and he was convinced. And hence, then Kamsa releases Devaki. And then Vasudeva and Devaki goes home. So after a year, their first son was born. So the Vasudeva, as per the promise, took that son to Kamsa. And Kamsa looks at the son and Vasudeva, and he feels some compassion by looking at how Vasudeva has brought his own son to be killed. And because of that compassion, he starts thinking that actually the voice said that it is the eighth son who's going to be danger for me. Why should I kill this first one? So he hands that son back to Vasudeva, and he says that this son is not a problem for me. There is no danger for me. It will be eighth child, so you can take the son back. But Vasudeva knew that he cannot trust Kamsa, because the person who has a flickering mind, you cannot trust their words. So this is the difference between Vasudev's word or Vasudev's promise and Kamsa's promise. Vasudeva has given the promise, and though it is very difficult for him to fulfill that promise, he actually kept that promise. But for Kamsa, it is not like that. His words or his promises changes depending on whether it is beneficial for him or not beneficial for him. So he doesn't care what is the value of his words. And that is how Vasudeva is thinking. And Vasudeva has returned home with the child. But at that time, Devatas start thinking, Arey, Kamsa has become so magnanimous now. And if he stops doing all his sinful activities, then the Supreme Lord will not appear. So we must have to do something. So they send Narad Muni. They request Narad Muni to go and incite Kamsa. So Narad Muni comes and says that, do you know, Kamsa, that all the Devatas, they have already taken birth in Yadu dynasty. And they have made a big plan to kill you. So Kamsa becomes alarmed. He starts thinking, if the demigods have already taken birth in the Yadu dynasty, that means the Lord must be taking birth very soon. So he arrested Vasudeva and Devaki and put them behind the bars and killed the child. Now many people start thinking that, oh, why Narad Muni provoked Krishna or provoked Kamsa? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually explained in the Sarartha Darshini Tika of Srimad Bhagavatam that actually Narad Muni wanted to have Lord Krishna appear very soon. He did not want to delay that further. That is, suppose Kamsa becomes so nice that he is not killing any children, or he is not actually liberating this, or not creating atrocities, then the Lord will say that, oh, there is no need for me to come. So he wanted to have the joy of seeing the Lord. He wanted all the demigods to also have the joy of seeing the Lord. And he wanted to give the joy to Vasudeva and Devaki as well, as they were also very eager to see the Lord. So that is the reason it is explained that Narad Muni actually incited the Kamsa to expedite the arrival of the Lord. So similarly, each year another baby was born, and then Kamsa killed them all. And he even arrested his father Ugrasen, and he became the king of the entire country. So that is where this first chapter, the advent of Lord Krishna, finishes. So we'll stop here today. And if there are any quick questions, we will take them. And then from tomorrow onwards, we will start the second chapter. And the way that we are going to do it is that there are various different speakers. Each day they are going to actually talk on each chapter of the Krishna book. So today I covered the first chapter. Tomorrow someone else is going to cover the second chapter, then the third chapter, fourth chapter, like that. And over a period of time, we are also getting some special guests from all around the world. So please stay tuned. Does anyone has any questions? You can raise your hand in Zoom and then I can let you know. Okay, Bharadwaj Shri Prabhu, you have a question. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for nicely explaining and also with the lessons, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Prabhuji, the question was that, Brahma was actually, you said like we need to tune to the Lord's message. So his surrender actually made him tuned to his message. So, and also you said like, with one misdial, we may receive different messages. So how can we distinguish that, Prabhuji? Like, see, at the stage currently where I am, like, it's very difficult. Like, we don't know, is it the instruction from the Lord, or is it the mind speaking, or is it somebody else speaking?
Yes, Prabhuji, very good question. So when we are actually listening, whether it is the answer that is coming from our mind or it is coming from the Paramatma, And in the beginning, we should be 100% sure that the Paramatma's answer is not reaching to us. It is the mind's answer that which we are taking. So the best is that unless and until we are purified, unless and until that stage comes, that anartha nivritti has happened and we have progressed to that stage, if that is not there, then we should actually hear from the Supreme Lord or the message that is available from outside. Instead of looking for that answer within from the Paramatma, we should actually look for that answer from externally, where the Paramatma is actually giving that through our Guru, either Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, or through the scriptures. So the best is to actually not trying to tune internally, but trying to tune externally through the scriptures and through the spiritual master. And that is the best way in the conditioned state. And over a period of time, by following the instructions of the Supreme Lord, which are coming through the scriptures and through Guru, then we will get purified, and then we will be able to tune properly and hear as well properly. Does that answer?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Pundarikaksha Prabhu, what is your question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the nice lecture. So my doubt is how to understand Kamsa believing the promise of Vasudev, but not believing the scriptural injunctions and becoming a demonic person.
Yeah. So even, okay, actually these two are completely different. For example, the scriptural injunctions are asking him to actually change his behavior. Scriptural injunctions are actually giving discrimination, what is right and what is wrong. But when you are trying to do something right, that means also we actually give up the sensual pleasures most of the time, or the sense enjoyment has to be given up. But those who are actually too engrossed in sensual enjoyment, it is very difficult for them to actually listen to these instructions. So that is the reason why he was not able to take the scriptural injunctions. But whereas the promise given by Vasudev is a different platform. He knows that I do not follow the scriptural injunctions, but I know that Vasudev follows the scriptural injunctions. So he doesn't have faith in himself for following the right things, but he has faith that Vasudev is not like me. He follows the scriptural injunctions properly, and once he has given given his word and promise, he is not going to give it up. So that is why he actually started believing into Vasudev's promise. Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anyone else has any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Jitendra Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, my question is, Kangsha heard the voice
Yes.
when he wanted to be the chariot driver.
Mm-hmm.
Why he was told at that time? What was his fault in his past life?
Who is Kangsha?
That he was given that nasty job, or he was given that nasty thing to do. What was his mistake in past life, or why would that happen to him, Prabhuji?
Yeah. So Kamsa is already a demoniac mentality. It was not because of his past life or anything. Actually, in the past life as well, he was a demon called Kalanemi, and we will actually hear about that past time when we are actually progressing, so I'll not cover that now. But in the past life as well, he was killed by the Supreme Lord. So he had that envy towards the Lord in his heart that he carried over to this life as well. And he continued his demoniac activities in this life. And the result was he was going to get killed. And that is what he was getting. But why that happened at the same time as he had become a chariot driver out of the so-called love that he had for his sister is because of the divine arrangement. See, we like drama, right? So all the movies and all of them, if you see, there is something that is happening and suddenly everything is fine and something dramatic happens. And then that increases the drama in that story. And then the story becomes quite interesting. So similarly, Supreme Lord as well, when he's coming and he's performing all these pastimes, he also likes some drama. So he actually introduces these things at this interesting junctions. Otherwise, he could have just come in the dream of Kamsa afterwards, or after 2-3 days, the marriage is done, and then he would have told him. But no, these devatas, they were seeing that, oh, see, Kamsa is such a demoniac person, but look at him now. He is making a show of his love for his sister. But he was immediately exposed as soon as he heard that this sister's son, 8th son, is going to kill me. All the love disappeared. If it was a pure love, he would have thought that, okay, doesn't matter. Even my sister's son is going to kill me. My love for sister is not going to change. But he doesn't actually love his sister. He only loves himself. And that was exposed immediately. As soon as he heard, he said that, okay, I am more important than my sister. If my sister's son is going to kill me, I'll kill her. So Kamsa, having this demoniac mentality, got exposed immediately as soon as that miraculous voice comes from the sky. Does it make sense? Did it answer your question, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, you have some question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhandapalam. Thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much for the lecture, Prabhuji. It was so nice to hear back from you after so long.
Yes, Mataji. I'm also very happy to speak after a while.
Prabhuji, I'm a little bit confused here because just now, in the question that you were answering, you mentioned that Kamsasur, right? Is that how we pronounce Prabhuji? Kamsasur, yeah. So you said that he was demon in the past life as well. And
Yes.
then in Krishna Katha also you said that he was playing the role of a demon, right? So how come he has the same character? Like there is no change. When he was demon, he was doing the bad things. And then again in this also he is doing the same. So why there is no improvement as such?
Because he did not want to improve. See, anyone, say it is not automatically anyone is going to improve. For improving the consciousness, you have to take effort. For example, all of us are trying to actually follow 4 relative principles. We are trying to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. So this is the effort that we are trying to do. So that is why Krishna says that for controlling our mind, we need to have Abhyasa and Vairagya. So there is a 2-point formula that Krishna gives in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And he says that by Abhyasa and Vairagya, we can control the mind. What is the Abhyas that we are doing? The Abhyas that we are doing is our 16 rounds of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And what is the detachment or Vairagya that we have? We are actually following the 4 relative principles. No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. So this is the detachment or the Vairagya that we are following. So for controlling the mind, Abhyas and Vairagya is important. And anyone who actually follows this practice of Abhyas and Vairagya, only they can actually control their mind and progress in their consciousness. But rest of the people who are not following any Abhyas and Vairagya, they are only going to degrade in their consciousness. It is not that they can actually remain steady in what they have. The nature of the yugas is that over a period of time, the consciousness only reduces. So unless and until we are taking some special effort to improve our consciousness, we are actually either going to remain where we are or we are going to degrade. In fact, actually, we are not going to remain where we are. We are always going to degrade only. And that is what is going to happen. So in Bhagavad Gita, it says in the 2nd chapter itself that those who are into bhoga aishwarya, their mind never actually becomes steady on the Supreme Lord. So that is why the demoniac people who do not have any desire to improve are not going to get improved. They are going to remain in the demoniac mentality. Only those who are taking some effort for improvement, only they can have their consciousness improved. Is that okay? Or did I answer your question, or did I actually go into a different track?
I'm still a little bit confused, Prabhuji, but what I'll do is that the next question that I have in my mind, I will text you so that I don't take much of the time for other people, but I'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
You have some more further question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you for the lecture, Prabhuji. Like in the questions you said that Kamsa is in previous Janma, he killed by Lord only.
Yeah, hold on to that question then. We will wait for that pastime to see what happened there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, many questions. Oh, Krishna. Okay. Who raised the hand first? Mukesh Prabhu or?
No, Sudhanva Prabhu was split seconds before me. So, Prabhuji.
Okay. Yes. Sudhanva Prabhuji? Or
Hare Krishna,
Sudharma?
Prabhuji.
Sudharma.
Yes.
Hello, Pranam. Nice to listen to your lecture again.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, just understanding is like the asariri or the voice came just to accelerate Kamsa's negative doing, is it? So that Krishna can be born?
Yeah, actually, it was for exposing his real mentality. Because externally, Kamsa was showing that he is such a sister lover.
Okay.
But actually, the situation it was, if the situation comes, then he actually showed his real color. As soon as he heard that voice, immediately he showed his real color, that he actually doesn't love his sister. He only loves himself. So to show his real color and his real mentality, the Devatas actually chose that time and gave that news to him. Otherwise, they would have chosen other time, or they wouldn't have given that news itself. But to show his real mentality, and also actually that accelerated because he immediately wanted to kill. Of course, he wouldn't have killed because Devaki's son was going to come as Lord Krishna. So the main reason was to expose his real mentality, the demoniac mentality.
But he was little bit good in the sense like till Narada came and told the to kill the children, he changed his mind to keep them alive. So normally the devotees are very merciful. They will normally give a chance for the wrongdoers to come back and correct themselves. So then in that case, this one is a bit not able to understand this, Prabhuji. So he could have been given another chance to change himself. Then why that wasn't actually?
Yeah. So
Prabhuji, sorry, if I may jump in, sorry, my question was also related. Narad Muni is coming and informing them. So we said that Devatas are afraid that Krishna will not come, but Krishna's coming was not conditional to his brothers being killed. Yeah. So yeah, that was, so how do we understand that? Thank you, Prabhuji.
yeah, okay. So actually in both situations, we have this assumption that Kamsa was not going to kill these other children. So just like in the Devaki's case, you would have seen that in the beginning, he was showing some love for her. But as soon as something changed in his mind, immediately he was going to kill her. So that is what actually the Krishna book mentions and Srimad Bhagavatam mentions, that Vasudeva knew in his heart that though Kamsa has actually pardoned this first child, that is not going to remain fixed. He is not going to remain fixed on his words. And sooner or later, he is going to change his mind. So Devatas also knew that Kamsa is going to kill all of the children, for sure. But if they kill now or in future, he was going to do it. So they just expedited that. That was the only thing, because Kamsa was not going to pardon them. So because that is his mentality, that is his demoniac mentality, that it was not going to happen, that he's going to keep them like that. So don't be thinking that, oh, Kamsa was suddenly became magnanimous and he will remain like that. So that is the illusion that we have, just like he was creating that illusion that he has for he has some love for his sister. Similarly, he showed some compassion towards the children, but very soon his mind will change and he will go and kill them. So Narad Muni just came and expedited that. Is that making sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
We'll stop here and we will see you all again tomorrow with a different speaker. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.